Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Leonor Carvalho. She is a PhD, is a burnout coach and hypnotherapist who helps professionals break free from burnout and reconnect with themselves to create a balanced, fulfilling life. Welcome to the show, Leonor.
Hello, and thank you for having me here.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Leonard. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll learn from you about how one can break free from burnout. In this backdrop, we'll have our conversation. But before that, Leonard, let's understand a bit about your journey, your background, so that people know who they are listening to.
Okay, so 10 years ago, I burned out, and I burned out while I was working as a researcher in the area of biochemistry. So I was just ignoring the signs that my body was giving me because I was living just here and I forgot about all the headaches, all the muscle pains, all the digestive issues, like all these little signs that my body was giving me, but I was ignoring. And not only that, but I was completely obsessed with work. Like I lived to work, basically, I didn't do anything else. And then one Friday night, I just kind of decided that's it because I was working on a Friday night. Yes, not so healthy. So, and then I went to, like, after I burned out, like I went to the doctor, I got sick leave because I just couldn't take it anymore. I was just like, I spent a week looking at laying down in the sofa, just looking at the ceiling of my apartment because I had energy. I didn't have energy to do anything else. So, and that started the journey of me like exploring other areas. So I started reading about psychology, and at some point I took a coaching certification, hypnotherapy certification, and I realized that what I really like to do is to help others overcome their limitations, overcome themselves, kind of. And that evolved into me starting to coach and help professionals and entrepreneurs with burnout. And I've been doing this full time for around 3.5 years.
Absolutely, absolutely, Leonard. So let's understand it from a common person's perspective. Uh, is what is this burnout all about? Is it when about getting tired, exhausted? How does it work? How do I know whether it is tiredness or is it I'm on towards the burnout?
So, burnout, we can see it as a prolonged or excessive exposure to stress. And how do you know that if you're just tired or if you have burnout? Well, if you're just tired, you sleep, you take care of yourself a bit, and then it goes away. If you have burnout, there is this tiredness, this exhaustion that doesn't go away. There is also a void. You feel like there is no motivation. So it's kind of tiredness, but on steroids, let's call it like that. That you just don't have it in you to do it anymore. You just empty, tired, like exhausted, and you don't have the energy.
Right. So is it about just work stress or is it something beyond beyond that, something much more deeper?
It's deeper. From my personal experience and the experience with all the clients that I have helped, it goes deeper than just work stress. Work stress, it's normally what triggers it, especially because we spend most of our time at work. So that's the stress that we are most exposed to. But you can also burn out from being a caregiver, from emotional stress. But normally it's with work stress that we start to realize. So it's deeper because I've understood that the roots of burnout, they come from, for example, our childhood, the way we learn how to process stress, the beliefs we develop during our childhood that makes us go on this relentless pursuit of work, of success, of achievement. So Yes, while it's manifests at work, the roots of burnout are much deeper than just work stress.
Absolutely. So is it about just success? And why does why do some people walk easily on the path to success, whereas others can, feel exhausted, stressed, even burnt out?
It's like about success, achievement, and kind of feeling the void that you feel like you're not good enough, you're not doing enough, and you're not necessarily going to be like highly successful. Like not only successful people burn out. It's about like why some people like they get burned out and they struggle with with stress more than others has to do with their resilience, their personality, their nervous system, what what beliefs they have about themselves. So it's not one simple thing. There are different things that contribute for you to be more resilient and to be able to handle it and have it easier. But what we see, like people that we think that have it easier, we don't really know what goes inside. So like it's hard to say like that they have it easier than other people.
Absolutely, absolutely, Leonard. So what should someone do when they realize, they are getting burned out?
Take a step back and reassess their life. Like, uh, what am I doing? Am I doing am I doing things that are aligned with who I am? Most important, who am I? Understand who they are, because sometimes we enter in this road because we are completely disconnected from ourselves, and start get help because and take action. I know it might feel a lot to take action when you are burned out, but it will not go away if you don't do anything about it. So get help and reassess your life, what you are doing, and what can you do differently so that you don't go in this burnout again.
Right. And get help from where? Some people may think, okay, you are a burnout coach, but I don't think you are a doctor. Correct me if I'm wrong. So,
No,
and some people suggest go to a therapist. How do I know which place to go to? Is it a burnout? Is a burnout coach enough, or a therapist is the place to go?
it depends on how severe is the burnout. For example, if you got into the if a later stage of burnout where you have symptoms that are very very similar with depression, perhaps I suggest you to go to a therapist, even to a psychiatrist, if you cannot really cope. And so it depends on kind of how much in the hole you are.
Right, right. You talked about your example of, even working on a Friday, and doing a lot of work during your research work. A lot of people, uh, work very hard, and that is okay, but a lot of people feel guilty about resting. Now those are two different things. Why do people feel guilty about resting, especially, when they want to work hard but they are not taking enough rest?
Because I think it's this toxic productivity thing that you need to be working all the time. I had the same. And one thing that helped me shift this was to remember myself that I'm a human being, not a human doing. So I don't need to be doing things all the time. I'm not a machine, so I need to take care of myself. And this like started to think like this really helped me to shift from being busy all the time, having to do something productive all the time, to actually being able to enjoy and relax and take a break and take vacation and not work on Friday night and take better care of myself.
Absolutely. And some people, you talked about that childhood traumas and your past that can contribute to burnout. I thought burnout is more about the present. Why do we have to look at the past, and especially childhood?
Because beliefs that we develop in our childhood, for example, if we had to grow too fast, and become independent too fast, we tend to become like hyper responsible. And when we are hyper responsible, when we are too responsible, we tend to overwork, to be working all the time and not taking a break, not being able to take a break because responsibility comes first. So what happens in our childhood? Not only we develop beliefs, we develop survival patterns that don't serve us as adults, and they will cause us to overwork, to stress more, not to know how to cope with stress. But also, it's about our nervous system, how our nervous system developed, what are our responses to stress, if we're going to fight, flight, or freeze, how it's a preferred. Like it's about kind of breaking free from what happens to us in childhood, from decisions we made when we were 7 years old that still rule our life today. So we decided that we need to work a lot, improve our work so that our parents love us when we are, let's say, 7 years old. And that decision led us to adopt a certain patterns of behaviors that as adults they don't serve us. They will just keep us in this loop of overwork, of doing, of trying to prove, of no matter what you do is never enough. So it's about breaking free from these patterns, from this autopilot that we have been living in, and actually reconnect to who we are and to do things in a way that is healthier for us.
Absolutely, absolutely, Leonor. So, some of the early signs you talked about it, but even at the cost of repeating, so that it can people can come to know about it. Even some people who have joined now, is that early signs of warning signs of this, this burnout. What are some of the things in a nutshell, if you can put it together for us that people should watch out for?
Okay, so on a physical level, you will get, for example, sick more often. You'll get kind of tension in the body, back pains, shoulder pains, more headaches, maybe some digestive problems that you didn't really have before. And then there is one sign that I found in every client, and I found it in myself as well, that is it's seen as a good thing, but it's not, is that you become obsessed with work. You're just obsessed with work. You don't have time for anything else. You don't have time for the hobbies you enjoyed before. You don't have time to eat to lunch, for example. You just work at lunchtime. Your life it's revolving only like around work, and so that's a sign that you are ready in burnout. Like, please just if there are things that you like to do before that you put time before and you stop doing them, it's okay for a short period of time because sometimes life happens. But if you see that this is lasting longer, like get help.
Absolutely. So, in terms of, let's look at it from a consequence sort of a thing. What are the consequences of burnout?
Well, if you do nothing, situation will not improve, and it will. You can have severe health problems because remember, stress is not in your head; it's in your body. So if you ignore, like if you don't take care of your body, like the stress response in your body, you will most likely develop some chronic issues, some severe health problems. And then on the psychological level, we're talking about depression. We're talking about yes, depression is very very common if you don't do anything about it. And then it's like your well-being, your day-to-day life, like it just if you don't do anything about it, you're setting yourself up to a lot of suffering.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Leonard, I want to understand, a lot of people want to take help, they want to take a break, but either for they have to pay bills, so they think you can't take a break, so you need to keep on working. They feel that you can just slow down a bit, but that is not possible. So, how do people? Is there a way where people can not suffer from burnout without taking a long duration of break? Or if you are having those warning signs, but you don't want to take a big break, how can you still do that?
Yes, of course, it depends on the severity of the burnout and how long you have been in this situation. But at home, when you get home from work, please leave work at work and do something for yourself on a physical level to help your nervous system to reset, kind of to close the stress cycle. So, for example, like breathing, breath work, exercise, like sports are really good exercise to move things, like connect with people you love, take care of yourself while you are not working, and like leave work at work, and the time you are at home, the time you're not working, do something to take care of yourself. So like these little actions, they really help you not to go into a state that you really are forced to stop.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in your case, what are some of the things that one can find within themselves to tackle burnout? Should they increase their resilience? Should they increase their stress bearing capacity? What is it that I can do? I know that I have to work hard in life. What is it that I can do to make myself stronger so that I am much more resilient and be able to take much more, I would not say stress, but much more, you can say, all these burdens of present day life, because not everybody is as lucky to be able to take a long break or has got ancestral wealth or something.
Okay. Number one life skill is to start questioning your thoughts, because we do create a lot of stress for ourselves in our thoughts. And a lot of these thoughts that create stress, first, we are not aware of them. We think it's normal and we assume that as being truth. And most of it is not truth. So start questioning your thoughts. Like, okay, I'm thinking this thing that is making me feel anxious, is making me feel stressed. Is it true? What evidence do I have that it's true? What evidence do I have that like it's not true? Would this matter in a week? If a friend would come to me and tell me this, what would I say back? So start developing this habit of questioning your thoughts, because based on our thoughts, we do create a lot of unnecessary stress to ourselves, and life becomes much easier once you start taking hold of what you think, that your mind doesn't run wild.
Absolutely, absolutely, Leonard. So, let me ask you this: if I understand, you are from Finland. Am I right?
I live in Finland, but I'm originally from Portugal. Yes.
Yes. So you are, but you are in Finland. So you have seen there. Finland is one of the countries, which has a lot of, say, in the terms of happiness index and all other indexes, Finland comes a bit, quite up above. Why do people in Finland, who generally have much more things available in terms of, not like it in a country which is, still trying to has limited resources, why is it that people still get this whole issue of burnt out in a country like Finland? Why do they require a coach, like a burnout coach like you, in a country like that? Is it, are we trying to are understanding burnout in that sense? They can just relax a bit. They're the average, average per capita income is quite better than a lot of other places. Help us understand from that point of view. Isn't happiness part of that whole, living culture itself there?
The happiness in Finland, like people report happiness because they do have, it's about the structure of the society, the work life balance that they have, the fact that they can trust the government and the support. Is not that people are joyful, like and laughing. It's different thing, but it has to do a lot with our resilience to stress. So with how people manage stress, with how people can cope stress, and that has to do, for example, with the type of childhood that people had and with the coping mechanisms that they have developed. So it's not really related with happiness and the country we are in. It's individual. Of course, some called as some like work environments, even in Finland, are toxic. There is this, so it has nothing to do with like the country you are in, but it's more of an individual thing, and how you deal with everyday life and how you deal with the stressors of around you, and how anxious how you deal with anxiety, how you deal with all kind of other things.
Absolutely. There is much to understand about all these things, Leonard, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to connect with you, learn more about your coaching, be your client. What's the best way for them to do so?
So they can connect with me on LinkedIn, which is my main platform. So just Leonora-Carvalho-coach. That's the end of my address. And on my website, leonorcoaching.com, you can always send me a message through there and see a bit of my work.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.